What's up, fam? Welcome to another episode of Primal AF, where we dig into the experiences of people that have transformed, overcame, and evolved. These stories are real and raw, and that's why this is Primal AF. Chris Roome stops by, and if you want real and raw, dude, you got it. Chris shares his journey on how he grew into the physical specimen he is and how he got there with type 1 diabetes. Check it out and let me know what you think. primalpodcast@gmail.com.
Jimmy,
Chris, what's up, brother?
what's going on, my man?
Dude, I was just showing my wife like one of your pictures from the last race you did.
That one coming up out of the water?
Yeah, dude, that was intense. That's the one I'm using that for this cover.
Yeah, that's probably the best Spartan pick I ever got.
Dude, that's pretty crazy. How was it?
It was wild. I've done some muddy courses, but when it comes to mud, that had to be 100 times worse than anything I ever dealt with.
I saw the videos and like the shit that you sent me, and I was like, holy shit. It looked horrible.
Yeah. Day one was tough. It was a slip and slide. You couldn't really run too much. It was more hiking. But then after age group day one, there was like 3,000 people that went. So day two was just, it was a hellhole. It was horrible.
Are they doing that same venue later on this year? Because there's another one in New Jersey. Same one?
Same one. Yeah, they do a trifecta weekend in the fall, and they do the sprint and super in the spring.
Was it pretty hilly?
Yeah, there's about 3,000 foot of elevation gain. You pretty much go base to summit right off the start. And then Killington was just not as much as Killington.
Dude, Killington was a motherfucker.
Yeah, I was just happy to survive Killington.
So when I saw you that day, that wasn't the first race that you've done. You've done a couple of them.
That was my third race. I don't know why I thought it'd be a great idea to complete my first ever trifecta at Killington. I left that race with my tail between my legs, just happy to have a medal.
Wait a minute, you did the trifecta?
Not at Killington. That was the last one for my trifecta.
And that you did the beast?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. That's been my motto my whole life. Go big or go home. But that was too big, too quick for me, for sure.
You got the medal?
Yeah. Yeah, I took away a lot of stuff, but I was just happy to finish that race. There was no competitive racing. It was a fight for survival on that, pretty much.
So that was an emotional race for me because that was the first one my family has been to. I think I've been doing this for almost 2 years now, but that was the first one they went to. And that was the very first race that I signed up for. So when I first started, the very first race, and this is before Primal, I signed up for the Ultra, like a genius. And I DNF'd.
No.
I made the cutoff and I DNF'd on going up. It was really close after. It was the next station and they just cut off your wrist. I said, sorry. I was like, can I keep on going? They're like, you can if you want, or get on the truck and go home. And I was broken, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So like that one was, I didn't do the Ultra, I did the Beast, but it was just finishing it. I mean, it was like, I look back at the mountain, I'm like, I won.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt when I crossed the finish line. It was like, I saw my son, he was 6 weeks old at the time.
Man, yeah.
I crossed that finish line. And I swear to you, the only reason I finished that race was because I knew Jeremy was sitting at the finish line. And I was like, I can't quit. Like, I'm a father. My boy's here. I cannot quit this race. And I pushed through.
It's crazy. We could do some pretty crazy shit like when you have that. Like the height, the half pipe, man, that was killer too. Going just up it.
Yeah.
It lasted forever.
Yeah. Every corner you turned, it was just uphill.
God. But
I'll go back.
I think if the rest of the guys come back this year, I think I'll do it.
Yeah, I don't know about this year, but I'll definitely go back.
Dude, how about your quads after that?
Dude, I was done. I laid in a roadside river and I shuffled around the first floor of the house we rented. I couldn't even walk up the stairs for a while.
It was that I stopped by the river too. There's one right by the highway.
Yeah,
like a bridge. And the water was freezing, but I was like, man, cold plunge just feels good.
Yeah, I mean, anything felt good at that point.
Dude, I'm saying it was a mess. Yo, so you're with Primal right now. How long have you been with them?
I started July of last year, so about 10 months now.
Okay, so you're about a year in.
Yeah, just about.
Um, Before that, you have had some like health things that have been a challenge. What were
Yeah, for
those?
sure. For sure. I am a type 1 diabetic, fully insulin dependent. I wear an insulin pump.
Uh-huh.
Um, that was a lot of getting used to deal with that throughout life. I used it as an excuse and a crutch for a lot of stuff when I was younger. Typical ups and downs of teenager 20s years. I got into a bunch of things I shouldn't have gotten into, but diabetes wise, once I hit it was either 30 or 31, I really decided to put my health first. And I really dove back into training. You know, I was always a gym rat, football player,
Oh, what'd
all
you
that.
play?
I Just high school football. I didn't play college. I
Yeah,
blew
but
my
you,
shoulder into pieces in high school, so
you
sports
look like a
career was
linebacker
over then.
though.
I was a D end.
Yeah, I knew he was a big guy. You look like a big guy. Somebody I'd be running from.
So yeah, it was fun, but once I hit my 30s, I decided I really needed to put my health first. I could only run around and just live the wild lifestyle I was living without consequences for so long. So I really dove into putting my health first, got back into the gym, and then I turned into a gym rat. My cardio was 20 minutes on the elliptical on a resistance 3 on Sundays. That was it. I never ran. I hated running.
You and me both.
Yeah, hated it. But I could push around a lot of weight. So I took that for being in shape. And then my one of my best friends challenged me to a Spartan race, and it was actually a beast. So I signed up with no cardio training, no Spartan training, no nothing, just to prove that I could do it. And thank God they canceled the event and they bumped me down to a super
Oh,
because
really?
that race kicked my ass,
Where was
Jimmy.
that one at?
That was at Mountain Creek last
Okay.
year. May 1st of last year was my first ever Spartan, and it kicked my ass. But it taught me a lot about myself and it gave me that itch. And then next thing I know, Matt Roberts popped up on my Facebook feed, and the
Mm,
rest is history.
yeah, that's it's weird how that stuff comes to fruition. You can't, all right, so you like you skipped over some stuff really quick. It's the same thing that I do, and like both of our stories are very similar because I think the difference is you figured and you smartened up a lot earlier than I did. I
I
wish I
don't know
stopped
about that
earlier.
one.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know about that one, Jimmy.
Dude, I'm 40, man. I started what probably it was about 2 years ago. I've been training since high school and college, doing it the right way. I've only been doing it 2 years and without alcohol because that was my biggest crutch. But you said like in your early was it 20s, you said?
Yeah, pretty much my whole 20s.
Oh yeah.
It was a train wreck. Yeah. I was a huge partier, but I had the disease of more. Alcohol would turn into pot, would turn into blow, would turn into heroin, whatever I could get my hands on. And I put myself in a real dark place. I pretty much lost a decade of my life, and multiple times over, I should have died, but something kept me around. That was the real kick in the ass for me. It was like, how many times am I going to put my life in somebody else's hands or take for granted that I'm still here before I actually stop and do something on my own to make myself better? Things got real dark when that problem turned into heroin. I just listed my
Yeah.
progressions.
Mm.
Yeah, for probably 5 or 6 years, I was addicted to heroin and I was smoking crack. I went way downhill very fast. I Coming out of high school, I didn't really take the college route. I went for like 2 years, didn't really like it.
Yeah.
I came home, I really got my feet under me. I was working 2 jobs. I was making great money. I was on my way making something of myself. And then I got involved in that and I lost it all 100 times faster than I made it. But
Dang.
Yeah, dude, it was rough, but I didn't know where to turn. That was my problem. Like I knew I had a problem. I
Mhm.
knew I needed to stop because I was afraid of dying, but I didn't know where to turn. And it was just that cycle every single day. Like I'd go to bed hating myself, miserable, telling myself tomorrow it's going to change. And then I'd wake up tomorrow and it'd be like, I need my fix. And that cycle
Okay,
would
one
just
more.
go and go. And I went on for a couple of years. And then finally one morning, every option available was exhausted. I had nowhere to turn. I was on my parents' couch. I was broke. I had no car. I had no job. And I was about to lose the only thing that I had, which was a roof over my head. I was about to get kicked out. And I woke up one morning and I just looked on the back of an insurance card and I called a helpline. And I actually went out to San Diego, Southern California,
Okay.
for a 30-day rehab. And that place changed my life. I met some real cool people out there, but I think the biggest thing I took away from that place was I was able to laugh and have fun without some kind of substance in my system. And that was something that I hadn't felt in so long.
Damn, dude. So when you were in the shit, was it more out of just like a habit, or was it like an avoidance thing? Like what were you?
It was pretty much a combination of a lot of different things thrown in. And I can't blame it on this, but it started out that when I blew my shoulder to pieces in high school, my senior year,
Hmm.
I was given oxycodone with
Uh,
no no prescribed take this amount, no weaning off. So once they cut the prescription, I was already hooked at that point. I didn't know anything about painkillers at that time. I didn't know much of that whole world,
yeah.
but I felt withdrawals at that point. And it didn't the addiction to pain medicine and heroin and stuff like that didn't start there, but that's what introduced me to that world.
It's a good feeling when you're high because I've done some pills before, like
Yeah.
oxycodone.
Yeah, but it's like most other drugs though. You spend your whole entire life chasing that first high. But that just opened the door and I just with that injury I started drinking a lot. I
Okay.
know when I went to college, it was a nonstop party. I went to West Virginia solely because they were ranked #1 party school. I
Yeah.
had no direction. I had no major choice. I literally just went there to party.
Yeah. Major in alcohol and
Yeah, that was it.
doing
Majored in
stupid shit.
alcohol. The kids I hung out with were introducing me to other things,
Yeah,
and
minor in PlayStation. Like,
yeah, you know how it is.
oh
It's the
man.
way it went for me. But
So, I like, what do you think was like the click to just make you pick up the phone or pick up that insurance card?
I just call it like a divine intervention, like just a
Good for
gift of
you.
desperation. Like I had battled so many nights in my head. Like I was in the position where I didn't want to wake up, but I was afraid to die. If that makes any kind of sense to you.
Did you come close to dying?
A couple times.
Was
Couple
that
times. I never overdosed, but there was a lot of situations in my life
uh,
where something could have went slightly different and I wouldn't be here. And on top of this, I was a diabetic, not I didn't test my blood sugar for 9 straight months. I had no I just completely disregarded my health.
because you were rolling some dice, huh?
Oh man, lots of dice. But I look back and I can't be ashamed of where I came from because all of that stuff led me to where I am today. I've done so much in such a short amount of time with my life experience and just my new perspective that if I were to change any of that, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in right now. That's the attitude that I take toward it.
Yeah, sunny days wouldn't be so great if it wasn't for rain. Who said that?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know what I'm
pretty
saying?
much.
Like, except it was raining shit, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's pretty crazy. So you did the 30 days, and then what happened after that?
So I did the 30 days. I
Uh,
actually wanted to stay for another 60, but my insurance wouldn't cover it.
okay.
I was petrified of coming home because all North Jersey to me was pickup spots, drug using friends. Like
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't a place I could go that I didn't have a memory of drinking or drugging attached to. But I had no choice at that point. I had no money. I had no job. My family had pretty much cut me out because
Yeah.
there's only so many times I could say sorry before they gave up on me. So I came home and I just dove into Alcoholics Anonymous here. And
Okay.
I went to 3 or 4 meetings a day every day for 4 months because
Mhm.
I had nothing else to do, but I was afraid of going back to what I was. And I met some amazing people there. To this day, a lot of those people are my closest friends because they've been through hell and back. They know what it felt like to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
Those people helped me get back on my feet and get moving in the right direction. They taught me how to actually be an adult, I guess is the best way to put it.
I feel you. Like I had a, I mean, I didn't get that back into drugs. Mine was alcohol because I had like multiple DUIs. Now I went down like the shithole where I had to go to jail, and I was struggling then with living with who I am now, knowing that I did that shit. But I heard something this morning and it resonated with me. It was like, what if everybody were to be judged off of the worst fucking shit that they've ever done? Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Everybody would
No,
be like a
nobody's a
shit
clean
person.
slate.
It'd
Yeah.
be like
Nobody's a
assholes
clean
and
slate. Yeah.
murderers.
Yeah.
Everybody would. So it's not about that. It's it's where you are now and the growth
Yeah.
from where you've been to where you're at now.
Yep. And like I'm clearly you can tell I'm not ashamed to talk about it because me
Mm,
talking about it can help somebody who can relate to what I came through. Someone sitting in that position now and it's like, oh, that's what I was like, but he got out of it. So there must be a way that I can too. That's what I'm all about.
that's pretty crazy. And that's like why I wanted to talk to you on here because like, even if it was like, what if there was like one person out there that was like, man, this motherfucker got himself out of some shit. Maybe I could talk to him because if he could do it, maybe he could help me get out of it because you can't really help somebody get out of a big hole unless you know how to claw yourself out.
Yep. That or unless they want it. I can't just walk up to someone and say, hey, follow me. They
Mhm.
have to want to get out. And
Yeah.
I can show them what I did. I can't tell them how to get out of their situations, but I
Mm.
can show them what I did to get out of mine. And
Yeah.
that I love that shit, man. I pop into a meeting once a week, a beginner's
Mm.
meeting, just because it keeps it green for me. I go in there and I see these people come in broken, in tears, lost everything. That shit keeps it green for me. If I forget where I came from, if I don't see that,
Mhm.
it's a very quick slope for me to go back to that. And that's probably my biggest fear in life right now is
Going back
just
there.
not doing what I need to do and ending up back where I started from.
Damn. So like you had a quick change of environment, it seems like. So you're up in North Jersey. How did you get out of that?
I gave myself fully to the program when
Yeah.
I got into AA. I latched on to a bunch of people. Actually, a lot of people still laugh at me to this day because most of my friends are 50 and 60. The AA old timers who
Yeah.
have years of sobriety. Everyone always laughs. They ask me if I have any friends my age. But to me, it doesn't matter. If you're someone who can bring something to the table that betters me as a person, that's the kind of person I want around me.
Yeah. It seems like
But
that was probably, I guess that stretch was probably the most difficult part of your journey so far.
yeah, without a doubt. That first year where I pretty much had to relearn how to live life
Mm.
completely. I, I honestly felt like a 5-year-old trying to navigate a 20-year-old's life. Like I just didn't know how to I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to feel emotions.
Yeah.
I'd be sitting on a couch and a commercial would come on and I'd be just sobbing like a little bitch and I didn't know why. I had to be taught everything from scratch all over again.
You say little
No.
bitch, but like that is from what I've heard, like your true authentic when you have tears coming down your face, you don't gonna be sobbing, but like, that's your true authentic self, and you have to be okay with that. I
Yeah.
had trouble. Somebody told me, I had a coach told me that I had a lot of feminine qualities, and I'm like, my mind was fucking blown for a week. I was like, and I'm googling shit like, what do feminine guys do that are really athletic? I talked to this person in my group, and she was like, dude, just be you. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. So
Yeah.
it was pretty quick, but I mean, I'm like, I don't, I'm not a crier. I'm not afraid to either.
Yeah. No, not at
Um,
all. I'm an open book, and for me, it's all about honesty. I spent so long lying and cheating and hiding. It's just so much easier to be honest. So much. And I'm at the point in my life now where I'm going to tell you the truth regardless. It's on you how you take it.
boom. That's a powerful feeling. And now, like the feeling of like when you cross the finish lines, like you have great feelings with that as opposed to almost synthetic feelings from before that are
Oh yeah, the
surface level.
raw emotions like that. That's what I'm addicted to now. Like
Uh,
just the raw emotions. And I don't know, I found after coming out of that, I really dove into the health world. That was another way to keep myself busy. But I do a lot of extreme stuff. I'll go on a lot of like week-long backpacking trips,
oh yeah.
crazy at like wherever I go, I find the most difficult thing there is to do and I do it. Like it drives my wife nuts, but that's me. That's what I do.
With that one, dude, we gotta
So,
link up and do something.
oh yeah, like I'm sitting here now trying to figure out if I can plan doing the PCT or the Appalachian Trail start to finish. I'm trying to
Really.
figure out logistics. Like no reason, just some cool ass thing that not many people can say they did. But I do that stuff because of all the things that I've been through in my life.
Mhm.
I can always look back and remember a situation that was always worse than what I'm going through at the time. Like last weekend, Spartan in the mud, I was miserable. I had double quad cramps coming down the mountain. I was sliding in the mud all over the place, completely locked up. But my mind refused to quit. Like my body was telling me to stop, but I just,
Mhm.
something in my mind was like, you've been through worse. Just keep moving. And that, I can't tell you how many races I finished with that mentality.
Yeah.
But that's shifted, that mentality has shifted my mindset and my perspective over the years.
It's almost like subconsciously your mind's like, hey, Chris, we've been into some deeper shit than this before. This is actually fun, and you paid to do this. You
That's
paid to
my
do
wife
worse
last
shit
year. Every single time I sign up, she goes, "Why do you pay hundreds of dollars to do this to yourself?"
because it's not what I'm doing, it's what I'm not doing
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
So
I tell her all the time, I said, I'll pay whatever it costs for that feeling of when I
mhm,
cross the finish line. That 5 seconds is worth every penny for me. That feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of not giving up.
mhm.
I don't care how bad the race goes, as long as I finish the race, it's a win in my book.
See, that's like the best attitude to have. That comes like a long way. So there had to be a huge level of focus and mind. I always struggle with this mindset shift. You see how I could fuck that up, right? But like, there had to be like a huge like shift like that, or going through AA and now getting to where you're at now. Like it sounds like it's something that's strengthening because now you're leading people because you have your own business now.
Yeah, yeah. I started my own personal training business. I work with type 1 diabetics, people like myself. Uh, Ideally, I like to target type 1 athletes who've hit barriers
Yeah.
because that was where I was at. I was eating all wrong. I didn't know too much about nutrition. I was eating high carb, high protein because my entire life I was told to eat high carb by
Okay.
endocrinologists. This isn't a knock on endos. They are amazing. They save lives, but different people require different things. And an endocrinologist is not a nutritionist. A
Yeah.
nutritionist may not exactly know how my body reacts to things. These are all things that I've learned in Primal. Shout out to both Matts. But going through eating the way I was eating, which was the only way I knew, and working out as hard as I was working out, I could only get to a certain point. Yeah, I could squat a ridiculous amount of weight. I could bench a pretty good barbell, but I was not seeing the results anymore. I wasn't getting stronger. I wasn't getting leaner. That I couldn't find anything to kickstart. And I jumped program to program. I did different kinds of workouts, everything. But stepping back and looking at everything, I was eating the wrong foods. The wrong foods were completely ruining my insulin sensitivity. So I had to take more insulin to break down the food that I was eating. By taking more insulin, I was retaining more water. It was storing more nutrients than necessary within my muscles because that's what insulin does. It transports glucose to the cells in the muscles.
Mhm.
So I was storing more in my muscles than I needed. My body wasn't breaking that down because I was eating more carbohydrates and more calories than I actually needed. I was taking more insulin. So there was just all of these factors stacked on top of each other that were stopping me from cutting that weight, from cutting that body fat. And it had nothing to do with exercise. It had everything to do with nutrition and how the insulin was breaking down all of the nutrients from what I was eating in my body. And that was something I never knew. So it makes sense for me going through this type 1 diabetic, breaking down these barriers. I come from from a place of experience where I can help people like me so much more than somebody with a degree who hasn't lived it, which is why I took this route with this company.
Dude, that's pretty cool. So where did your education come from to learn all of that?
Real life.
Yeah. So you just figured all that shit out and you did your own
Yeah,
research.
I've taken bits and pieces from all over the place. I've had many conversations slash arguments with my endocrinologists and other doctors. I'm the kind of guy where I just love to know things. So if somebody tells me something, I want to know the why. And I'm not just going to look at like the first Google result. Like I'm going to look for school papers, like educational papers.
Yeah.
And I go on to like page 2 and 3 of Google where they're not paid to be up top. And I'll just read and read on things until I can come up with my own hypothesis is the best way to put it. And then I implement what I learned. I'll turn around and like they do with the nutrition and primal. Okay, I'm going to start with this and see how my body reacts. If this isn't working, then we'll try that. And it was just a trial and error all the way through to find what worked, nutrition wise, insulin wise, everything. And I mean, I had to take that into every aspect of my life because being a diabetic, exercise lowers blood sugar. It could also raise blood sugar. Racing for sure is a very slippery slope. It took me many trial runs to find what works for me. And that's what I tell people all the time. I get people messaging me left and right. What did you do? It's not what I did. It's figuring out what works for you. And living with diabetes, I can relate to aspects of their life a lot more than someone who sees 250 diabetics a day for 10 minutes a day.
Dude, yeah, it's because I see on some of the stuff that you post, they're like, hey, I did this and I have type 1 diabetes. So
Yeah.
if I had type 1 diabetes, I'm like, yo, what is this guy doing? Because you're a big dude and you're accomplishing all this. And I see the paces that you're running too. I'm like, God, this guy could catch me. Bro, you're a lot bigger than I am. It's like you're pretty fast, but no, that's pretty sick. So do you think that was holding you back any? Well, I mean, just the diabetes, or do you think it was more the nutrition that was holding you back?
A little bit of both. I think the majority of it was nutrition. I just wasn't taking care of my diabetes fully at the time. So when I started to really hammer down and take control of my diabetes, I started to see a little bit more, but it was a little bit and then plateau again, and then a little bit and plateau again. So when I really dove into the nutrition, which I didn't figure that one out on my own. I'll throw this one out there right now. This was all primal, going back and forth with Roberts and Chin, that we were really able to hammer down the macros and what worked for me as a diabetic. And I got to give a lot of love to Chin here. One of the first things he asked me was what books to get for diabetic athletes. And he read up on what I go through to
He's like a
better serve
mad
me.
scientist when it comes to this stuff.
Oh, the guy's phenomenal.
Dude, it's like he like nerds out, and dude, he's so intense about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
And it's unbelievable. Like the way that, the way that my program gets delivered, I would never in a million years guess that he helps dozens of other people the way he helps me too. I sit back and it's like, how do you have that time? But
I know, right? And then he's traveling all over.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, I live vicariously through him. That's for sure.
like we had a call this morning, and he was like, "Hey, what do you think that you would incorporate?" I'm like, "Matt Chin, I'm fucking 40, and I could see my abs. I don't give a fuck what you do. Do whatever you do. Send it my
Yeah,
way. I'm gonna do it. It works." Well,
yeah, yep,
pretty crazy.
yeah. It's insane. Yeah, the amount that I've gotten out of Primal and the people that I've met in Primal. My last two races, people told me they were there, and like I was running around like a little kid in school trying to find them. I didn't find them because obviously there's thousands of people, but it's cool to know that there's, especially now, there's so many people at so many different races that are on the same path that we're on.
It's growing, man. I think
Yeah.
at one point I wanted to say that I was one of the only Americans that was there, but now it's getting really big, and I'm glad it is because I'm like a walking billboard. I feel like because all through college I was the same way. I was like, man, I was big, but it's kind of like big and just I don't know, just maybe round. Yeah, I played wide receiver, but I could never see my abs.
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable. But where were you at, like weight wise, before you
I
saw like success?
I was up to, I was pushing like 240, 245.
Hmm.
I was solid. I was strong,
Yeah,
but I carried a lot of, it was all my midsection
same
in the
here.
weight, all in the midsection, but I thought I was in phenomenal shape just because I was strong. I couldn't have been more further from the truth than that. But when I started Primal, I think I was right about 240,
What do you got?
but I've dropped, I bounce a little bit between 220 and 223. So,
Pounds.
but yeah, I've lost almost 20 pounds. But what blows my mind is the monthly progress pictures, dude. When I started July of last year to now, it's holy shit.
Yeah, every once in a while, like periodically, I'll throw my first one up there because that's how it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm like, yeah, I got nice shoulders and I got a little belly. I'm like, man, fuck.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was, all midsection. I still got a ways to go. I'll get there. My whole outlook now is I'm not gonna undo 20 years of shit eating, partying, and all that. I've got to put the work in and earn it. And that's what I love now. I love putting in the work.
Yeah, it's fun because it's every little bit that you do, and it could be as simple as like cutting the grass or taking a walk or to just throw a vest on. It doesn't take a lot, but I just feel like tomorrow I'm going to see some sort of result. Like I feel like it's always trending. I mean, you got ups and downs a little bit, but it's always trending in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you get out and do something, like Liam says, just move. Just
Well, it's
get
like you
up
said
and move.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liam,
Yep.
Liam was funny as hell.
That's my biggest thing that I always tell everyone. A little riddle. I won't hold it on too long. I'll give you the answer. But what's the most important step a man can take?
I would say the first one.
The next one.
The next one, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I
It
totally get
doesn't,
it.
it's not always going to be the right step, but as long as you take the next step, you're still moving forward. And that's how I live my life now. Just always taking that next step, never sitting in one spot too long, never moving backwards. You know, some days you move sideways and I hate those days, but as long as I'm not moving backwards, I've had a good day.
Dude, for real. What I mean, what's your business now? Do you do like personal training?
That's on the side. I'm trying to
Yeah.
grow that into a full business. I've only had this for about 5 months now.
Yeah, it's pretty new.
Yeah, I work full time at Costco.
Mhm.
Phenomenal pay, phenomenal benefits. I love the job. It's easy. They pay me great. I can't really complain about it.
Doing
Building this on
money.
the side. Hopefully one day it'll take over and I won't have to work a 9 to 5 for anybody other than myself.
I love that. So I know what it is, but what is the name of your business?
Total Revision Fitness.
Total Revision Fitness.
Yeah,
And you
Total
know it.
Revision came about because of my experiences. It was physical, mental, emotional, habits, perception, mindset, everything. And my experiences are what I want to bring to the table for everyone else. Because anyone can pick up a dumbbell or a barbell, anyone can run a lap around a track, but if you don't have the right mindset, if you are dwelling on all the wrong things, you're going to do nothing but block any kind of progress.
I
Total
mean,
Revision incorporates it all into one package.
and this is my take on it. If I had type 1 diabetes, I don't want somebody that is fucking has perfect insulin running my shit. I would rather, if I'm trying to lose weight, I would rather have somebody that was 300 pounds and now where they want to be, like
Yeah.
teach me how to do that. It's kind of like I tell everybody when I went over to see Matt Roberts, I came back and I said, that is exactly the motherfucker I want training me. It's just how he lives. And then when
Yeah.
I go with my coaches, just different like personal growth coaches, I want them to have had a fucked up past. Sorry. I want them to have a fucked up past because they need to know. I need to see that they crawled out of this shit so they get it. Now they could teach me how to do the same thing. So this is perfect for you, which I think, anybody that has anything like this, you go see Chris because you've done the research and you're very successful and very physically able to do anything.
Yeah, I don't let anything hold me back, but that's also why I post things that don't go as planned too, because there's so many people out there that just post all these perfect lighting, Photoshop, chiseled, wonderful world pictures. And for me, like, that's not real. That's a set, that's scripted.
Mm.
I want you to see that I'm out there running and my run is fucked up because my blood sugars tanked. I want you to see that I had to back out of this event because my blood sugars were high or I had insulin pump problems. Like, I live an everyday life like any other type 1 diabetic out there. Just because I'm offering a personal training service to help improve your life doesn't mean my life is perfect. And I feel if I lose that connection, I'll lose a lot of people.
Dude, just looking at your face, I just feel like even the first time I met you, I was like, man, this is a great motherfucker to be around. You're like happy as hell, and you're like, dude, you're the nicest guy. What lessons do you think you've learned about yourself throughout your journey?
Man, there's so many I could list right now.
Top
Um,
one. First thing that comes to mind.
First thing that comes to mind is the a quote that I was told by one of the guys that I look up to. Said the rear view mirror is smaller for a reason. I always look forward, but never lose sight of your past.
Mm.
That if that keeps me going because I always in the back of my mind remember what I've come out of. And I just take those principles that I've learned through my recovery and into now that I've got years behind me. I just take those principles into everyday life. I don't need material things. It's all about how I respond to situations. There's things that happen in life that are going to piss you off, but you can let them piss you off and consume you, or you can say, fuck that, and just go do something else to get your mind off of it. There's a whole lot of little stuff like that just goes through my mind daily. I look at people and I used to look at people and judge people all the time, compare myself to them, or what does this guy have? What can I do to be like that? Or look at this guy, I'm better off than that guy. But now going through the soul searching that I went through and really digging into what made me tick and why I reacted the way I did, why I did the things I did, and discovering what my character defects are, by actually uncovering them and taking ownership for my past, I've been able to just put everything behind me and just be so much more at peace and at ease. I don't have the whirlwind going on in my head. And all of that, it just comes down to all of little nuances throughout the day. Just rewiring my brain and just looking at life differently. I just went off on a huge tangent.
Dude, I
there.
love it, man. I'm all about it. I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be listening, man. It's pretty inspiring, the journey that where you started to where you're at now, and you've accomplished a lot. But
Yeah, I still learn every day.
yeah, I was gonna say you're probably looking for that next big mountaintop. What do you think that is? Like your next step or your next goal? What's in the future?
I know earlier in the podcast I had said I really want to hike the PCT. That has been on my radar for a long time. I was actually very close to moving out west. Funny romantic little story about how I met my wife.
Oh yeah.
I actually had my transfer papers in to move out to Utah just so I could be in that element, the mountains. I love that shit.
Yeah.
So I was on my way out there. I was looking at apartments. I had some house calls set up. I had my transfer papers in, and my best friend back here in Jersey was getting married. So he asked me to be in the wedding.
Uh-huh.
They paired me up with my wife, my now wife. It was the first night we met, was the night of the wedding. And the rest is kind of history. She was actually our third date. She was babysitting for a family she knew in Switzerland, and she asked me to meet her in Paris. So I flew to Paris for 31 hours. We met at a Women's World Cup game, spent the night, and then I flew home the next day.
Holy shit.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Dude.
Clearly the anchor
Chris Roome is dedicated.
Clearly the anchor got thrown out on my moving west plans. So
yeah. Well, good for you.
Now at some point in life I'll get back to them. But I've got the OCR itch huge now because I love the outdoors. I love working out. OCR combines the two for me, puts me in nature and hard elements, and requires some physical strength. So I'd like to step up. I just stepped up the age group this year. I'd like to eventually work my way up, like probably in chronological order, like trifecta full weekend. I'd love to do an ultra. I keep watching all these David Goggins videos on these marathons. And, who knows?
Careful, man, because curiosity killed the fucking cat.
If you're listening to this, that's not where I want to go right now, right?
You're going to have your math run is going to be like 30 miles on Sunday. It's like, I got you.
I know. It's just, I see things where my initial reaction is, fuck that, that's ridiculous. But then they linger in my head. When they linger in my head, they become a chance. And when they become a chance, then I start to think about them. When I start to think about them, who knows?
One purple belt. That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yep.
Cool. You're definitely doing Poconos?
Yeah. I was signed up for the New Jersey Stadium race that got canceled. So I had to transfer my ticket to the Poconos.
Okay.
I chose the Poconos because I can drive to it. But I still have to talk to the wife to see if I can figure out if I can do the full weekend again or not. But I will definitely be in the Poconos, and I hope to see you there too.
Dude, I think I'm going to get a house and we'll see if we can get a bunch of primals together and just do the damn thing like they do in the UK. That's my game plan anyway. I put it on my goal sheet to do one primal weekend like they do, and Poconos works out. If you can, bring her along.
Yeah.
We'll just do it. Yeah, bring the kid and I'll get an Airbnb. We'll just do like they do. We'll eat meat. We'll feast.
Yeah.
Hang
out.
Hang out. Because I'm not going to do the beast, but I'll hang around and I'll.
I don't think they have a beast in the Poconos.
Oh, really?
Sure. I think it's a Saturday super and a Sunday sprint. That's it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm all for it if I can make it work.
Dude, all right, I'll get it. But so Instagram, How do you spell that? It's Total Revision Fitness, but how do you spell it on Instagram?
That's total_revision_fitness.
Perfect. So I'll throw that in the show notes. Chris Roome, you're the fucking man.
You're the man, Jimmy. I look up to you.
Dude, that's something I talked to my coach about too, because I was like in the middle of a personal growth journey, and I'm like, dude, like I can't believe like I didn't spend enough time with this dude. Like he came over and he saw me. We had to go to the airport, and I felt so bad that first time I met you. He's like, yeah, but dude, get over yourself. That's your ego talking. I was like, yeah, but I wanted to spend more time. I was like, oh.
It was fine. We met up. That was the
Yeah.
whole thing. We met up.
That's what he said. He was like, dude, just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
But
I love what you're doing. I was like a little kid when you asked me to be on this podcast. I was so fucking excited.
have you done podcasts before?
First one.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, I listen to them every day. I've never done one.
It's gonna fucking be awesome.
Yeah, can't wait, man.
You're the man. I appreciate it, Chris.
All right, Jimmy. Appreciate you having me, and let's make this Pocono shit happen.
Dude, and I'm watching you, man. I'm watching you. So good luck, brother.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man.
I'll catch up with you.